Swamin Namaste Natalokabandho Karunya Sindho Patitam Bhavabdho Mamuddharatmiya Kataksha Drishtya Rijvyati Karunya Sudhabhivristya Swamin Namaste, Swamin Namaste, Swamin Namaste, Swamin Namaste. Jnanasvarupam nijabhavayuktam Anandamanandakaram prasannam Yogindramidhyam Bhavarogavaidyam Srimad Gurum Nityamaham Namami Srimad Gurum Nityamaham Namami Nityaya Satyaya Chidatmakaya Navyaya Bhavyaya Paratparaya Shuddhaya Buddhaya Niranjanaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya Namostu Nityam Guru Shekharaya. Jai Guru, Jai Guru, Jai Guru. I think Namrata gave a very good summary of what I have been discussing, particularly the last session. We have been discussing Abhayam and why we are discussing Abhayam. Let us not forget, we are discussing actually Chitta Prasadah, a section from Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangraha. And Chitta Prasadah means placidity of the mind. The mind should be placid, calm, absolutely tranquil, peaceful. And when the mind is like that and Sattva Guna has developed, then the Atma gets revealed spontaneously because there is no disturbance in the mind. Our real identity is that we are the eternal, changeless, immortal self, and we are able to understand it. Not only that, we become fixed in that knowledge. Now, otherwise, we mistakenly identify ourselves with this changeful body-mind intelligence, and we suffer misery. We go through happiness, unhappiness, fear, anxiety, etc. So, in dealing with Chitta Prasadah, so the question is that how do we get this placidity of the mind? And Shankaracharya in his text Sarva Vedanta Siddhanta Sara Sangraha saying that the placidity of the mind will be had when we develop Sattva Guna, that is, removing and completely removing only the not only the Sattva Guna and Rajoguna and Tamogunas and their effects. We should constantly try to grow more and more Sattva Guna through all our indriyas and mind and intelligence, so that the whole being becomes Sattva Guna, full of Sattva Guna, and we progress towards what is Vishuddha Sattva. So in doing so, when we came to this sloka, where in the sloka number 365, Shankaracharya is saying that Sattva Guna, he is telling some few methods to grow in Sattva Guna. And we have been one by one dealing with them. And all this growing in Sattva Guna, not only in this text, in Bhagavad Gita, in other texts, other prakranas, in Bhagavatam, everywhere, Upanishads, everywhere it says that one must grow the qualities of the self itself. That is, the mind should become more and more pure so that the mind becomes calm. It is not disturbed by desires, possessiveness and ego. And that is what we have been also discussing in this particular text. It says, this sloka number 365 says that we must completely renounce asuri sampad, that is, the tendencies and traits of the mind which are evil in character. Evil means it brings about disturbance, agitation, affliction in the mind, such traits, such tendencies which make the mind only restless. So, discarding those, removing those, what we have to do? We have to grow in us Daiva Sampatti, divine qualities. And for those who want liberation from the shackles of the mind, they must do it, and only then the mind will become placid. Asurim sampadam tyaktva bhajedyo daiva sampadam mokshaikakankshaya nityam tasya chittam prasidati. Chittam prasidati. See, I think all of us want a peaceful mind. We do not want our mind which is constantly gripped by fear, anxiety and stress, strain, thoughts about future and whatever we have suffered or not suffered in the past. All these thoughts are constantly in our mind. We want the mind to be peaceful. So, chittam prasidati. Now, Daivi Sampad, Shankaracharya is saying that introspect, look into yourself, find out what are the traits and tendencies which make you disturbed and develop those qualities which are divine. So, divine qualities has been discussed in a very detailed manner in Bhagavad Gita in the 16th chapter, Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. So we started with that. That is how we have come to. And what is those slokas? 3 slokas are there. Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhi, that is Bhagavad Gita 16.1, 16th chapter, 1st sloka. So where Sri Krishna is telling Arjuna, see, Arjuna lost all his self-confidence. He was griefful, he was full of grief, he was full of fear and no confidence at all in his archery or in his skill. So, Krishna is giving him upadesha, instructions, so that he gains back his confidence and could fight this war which is for righteousness. So, Krishna is also telling, first he tells him about the self, then many other things, samatva, etc., etc. And then Krishna is telling him also how one can be seated in the knowledge of the self. To do so, you have to have some qualities, such qualities which will be making your mind calm, tranquil, so that the self that you are, that knowledge will be stable in your mind. So in 16th chapter, he is saying these are the divine qualities which every seeker or devotee must have. Similarly, he has told about many other qualities in different chapters. So in this chapter, Daivasura Sampad Vibhaga Yoga. Is it so? Daivi quality he is explaining in the first 3 slokas. First is abhayam, then sattva samshuddhi, jnana yoga vyavasthitihi, danam damascha yajnascha swadhyayas tapa arjavam. So he said that abhayam is fearlessness, sattva samshuddhi is the wholesome purity of the whole being. That is, the whole being, not that one part is pure. The whole being should grow to a purity. Actually, when one becomes pure, that is liberation. Only when the mind is pure, mind, intelligence, body, everything together is integrated and it reaches that kind of purity. And how it will be when you grow in Sattva Guna and then you come to Vishuddha Sattva. Vishuddha Sattva, Vishuddha Satyasya Gunaha Prasadaha, Placidity. So, fearlessness, Sattva Samshuddhi is wholesome purity. Then Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi, adequate attunement to and abidance in spiritual wisdom. What is the spiritual wisdom? That I am the self and the self is everywhere. It is the same self everywhere. It is the one self, one consciousness everywhere. So abidance in that spiritual wisdom. That is, then all the activities, all the thoughts will be according to that knowledge. The knowledge that I am a seeker and this is the truth. Then all our thoughts, speech, actions, interactions, everything will be in abidance with this knowledge. Just like say, I always give the example of a mother. When the mother gives birth to a child, if say about the first child, she will be initially thinking, I have become a mother. Then nobody has to tell that you have become a mother. That motherhood gets completely ingrained in her system. Similarly, this knowledge has to be ingrained in our system. We have to get fused with this knowledge. And when a mother gets ingrained with this motherhood, what? Nobody has to tell her what she has to do for the child. Similarly, when a seeker gets fused with this knowledge, everything that the seeker will do will be an extension of the spiritual knowledge. He cannot do otherwise. So, jnana yoga vyavasthitihi. These are all qualities, my dear children. Krishna is telling Arjuna. For whom? He is telling Arjuna, and through Arjuna, we are getting this instructions. And what are we supposed to do? Understand them very well and try to develop them. Then danam damascha yajnascha swadhyayas tapa arjavam. I am not going to the second and third sloka. We were in the first sloka, 16.1. So let us go back there. Now, I was discussing abhayam, that is fearlessness. And we saw that fearlessness can be had only when one gets that knowledge and remains steady in that knowledge that I am the self and there is only one self. That is, the differential attitude is completely gone. We fear when from me there is a separate thing, separate identity. It can be object, it can be some situation. Then only the fear comes. When there is only one, there is no separate thing, no differentiation. Then who will fear whom? Who will like whom? Who will hate whom? So that is one thing. To be established in this knowledge. And now we are not established in the knowledge, that is why we are fearful. So how to have this fearlessness? Constantly dwelling in this knowledge that I am the self which is eternal, changeless, fearless, etc. And work in abidance with that knowledge. We are not habituated to do so, but now we have to learn. That is, we have to introspect constantly and see, I am saying, I know this is the knowledge. I am saying it many times, reminding me, But are my thoughts like this in abidance with that knowledge? Are my words like that? Is my interaction and activities also in abidance with this knowledge? Or when I am doing activities or I am talking, this I am the self, that feeling goes away. So, it is a great culture. We have to do it. And this will become easy when you come to a Sadguru, a Mahatma, who constantly, relentlessly, he will be telling you about the truth. So these are the way one can have abhayam. And I have taken 2 slokas in which the sage Bhartrihari, he has told how this whole life is full of fear. Bhoge roga bhayam, bhoge roga bhayam, kule chuti bhayam. Many of you know this. I think we have been chanting it quite a number of times, all of us. And it says at the end that vairagyam eva abhayam. And what is vairagya? It's not that you run away from the situations. Vairagya comes when you do not have desires, possessiveness, ego. When you are aware that you have desire, because of the desire you are fearful. What is that? You desire some object, you desire some situation. And if you do not get what you have desired, then also you are always feeling and fearful that I am desiring it, will I get it, will I get it, will I get it? Suppose you have got, then what is the fear? Will I lose it? Will I lose it? So fear is everywhere. Similarly, so many examples have been given. Fear is everywhere. So desire is the greatest impurity in a seeker's mind. Undue desires. There should be desire. Desire to run the family, keep good health, when necessary, see the doctor, take medicines. All these are okay, you can call it desire also. But undue desire, unnecessary desires, you have to be very, very alert and selective. That is, you have a restraint in the mind. What the mind is asking for, you have to have a discrimination through the intelligence and understand what is right and what is wrong, what is conducive for growing in Sattva Guna and what is not conducive for growing in Sattva Guna. Then I also took a very beautiful sloka from Subhashitam where the poet, he says that a yogi who is always seated in the self-knowledge, he never falls from that knowledge. That is, all his thoughts, speech, everything, activities, etc., everything is in accordance with this knowledge. So, normal people, they feel that my family, my parents, my siblings, my friends, my relatives, they are my support, they are my strength. If I am in danger, they will come and protect me or help me. So they look towards the family and friends, the near and dear ones. But how long these people who are mortals will remain with you? Even if they want to, sometimes they are not able to help you. Also, if one is fearful and one is anxious, mostly it happens that when you tell your fears and anxieties to the near and dear ones, they also become anxious and fearful. It is understood. They are not able to give any solution to the fear which is working in the mind of whether I will get something which I need or whether some uncertain situation is there, or maybe the health has gone bad, a very, say, a disease which may not be cured. The near and dear ones, they also suffer same kind of fear, anxiety, lack of hope, lack of confidence. So, this poet says that from our near and dear ones we cannot get permanent support. Only such qualities which will develop our Sattva Guna, and through that, he has not told this part, but actually when the Sattva Guna develops, what happens? One is able to have this Chitta Prasadah, and ultimately one is able to be merged with the real identity that I am the self, nothing can disturb me, nothing can affect me. So this poet is saying, cultivate these qualities which we will never lose. You may lose your parents, you may lose your siblings, you may lose your friends and relatives, but these qualities, if you develop, they are within you and they will constantly give you support and strength of acceptance of any situation, of reliance, of contentment with whatever you get. And so, you will not be having any fear from anybody. So I stopped there last session with this sloka. Dhairyam yasya pita kshama cha janani shantischiram gehini satyam sunurayam daya cha bhagini bhrata manassam yamah Shayya bhumitalam dishopi vasanam jnanamritam bhojanam ete yasya kutumbino vadasakhe kasmad bhayam yoginaha dhairyam yasya pita kshama cha janani shantischiram gehini Satyam sunurayam daya cha bhagini bhrata manassam yamaha Shayya bhumitalam dishopi vasanam jnanamritam bhojanam ete yasya kutumbino vadasakhe kasmad bhayam yoginaha. He said that instead of having the blood and matrimony relatives, mostly he's talking about the blood relatives, parents, father, mother, and sister, brother, then the wife, related by matrimony, and his own son. He says that don't depend and rely on them. Instead, consider that dhairyam yasya pita, composure is your father, forbearance is your mother, calmness of the mind is the wife, truth is the son, compassion is the sister, control of the mind is the brother. So, these qualities, composure, forbearance, calmness, truthfulness, compassion, and control of the mind, when these are there, we develop these, our Sattva Guna increases. What happens? We are able to, composure means what? When will we be composed? When whatever we face, we are not affected. And that is what we want. Forbearance also is like that. That whatever comes, some kind of affliction has come, you forbear. somebody behaves very badly with you, forbear. So disturbance of the mind becomes less and less and less. He also says that for whom the earth is the bed, that is, yadrichalava santushtaha, be contented with what you get. Whatever place you get to stay, it may be a small room, it may be a small bed, it not be as you wanted. Whatever you get, be happy with it. Dishopi vasanam. Both this, vasanam is dress. Do not be fastidious about your dress. Do not be fastidious about where you are staying and what kind of shelter you have got. That is, have contentment by whatever God has given you. Yadricha labha santushtaha. And even if you do not get food, only look for what? Jnanamritam bhojanam. Only drink jnana amrita, nectarine knowledge. That is why in Viveka Chudamani, very often I quote from Viveka Chudamani, the Shishya, he tells the Guru, he says, what does he say? Brahmananda rasanubhuti kalitaihi putais sushitair yutaihi yushmad vak kalashojjitai shruti sukhai vakyamritai sechaya. He says, when he goes to the Guru, he does pranam and says that I feel that I am afraid. I feel that all the happenings of the world, I get happiness also, I get unhappiness also. So many situations come, favorable, unfavorable, but I feel scorched by them. I feel as if I'll be simply uprooted and thrown away. I feel I am going to die. Please rescue me from this feeling of mortality and give me immortality. I do not know anybody else to whom I can go and tell my problems. Then the Guru starts talking to him. But the Shishya, you know what he says? He said, "Oh my Lord, hey Prabhu, my Guru, you have the realization of Brahman, and the joy and delight out of that realization is Brahmananda. It is like a nectarine juice. Brahmananda rasanubhuti kalitaihi. You have the experience of this Brahmananda rasa, the nectar of Brahmananda. And what is that Brahmananda like? Putaihi. It is very, very pure. Sushitaihi. It is very, very cool. And it is Shruti Shukaihi. It is very pleasing to hear. And if you talk about it, it is Amrita like. Oh my Lord, I feel as if you have a pitcher full of that Brahmananda rasa, which is very, very pure, which is very cooling, which is very pleasing to hear, and which is like Amrita. I am requesting you, pleading with you, to pour this Jnanamrita on me. Shower me with that Jnanamrita. Sechaya. He said, please shower me with this Jnanamrita, as if you are having it in a pitcher. But through your words, you shower me with your words, which are like Amrita. So, this yogi who is realized, who is stably united with the self, doesn't fall from that. He doesn't fear anybody. He says that for him, the Food is just jnanamrita bhojanam. Even if he is not getting food, he is ready to sit and only drink this jnanamrita. So, if he makes these qualities as his relatives, near and dear ones, these will not be lost because these are inner qualities. They are not the outer ones. We all depend on our outer objects, our possessions, and the people around us, near and dear ones, all are outside us. We depend on them and we feel we'll be protected. They will be with us in our danger. But how can they protect? So, when one is really fearful, he is not able to get fearlessness from anything. He may be having lots of money, he may be having lots of people around him, he is still fearful. So, all our rishis are saying, develop the qualities, and ultimately reach that state of I am the self, I am the immortal self. Then only you will not be fearful. Then a very beautiful Subhashitam I remember in this context. Na bhupradanam, na suvarnadanam, na gopradanam, na tathannadanam, yatha vadanti mahapradanam, sarveshu daneshu abhayapradanam, na bhupradanam, na suvarnadanam, na gopradanam, na tathannadanam, yatha vadanti mahapradanam, sarveshu daneshu abhayapradanam. It says, sarveshu daneshu abhayapradanam. Abhayapradana, to give abhaya to somebody, is the most great or holy or glorious of the gifts we can give anybody. Any dana, that is giving something. He says, if somebody gives you as a gift, that is land. Suppose somebody has gifted land. It is considered to be very great. Somebody gives lot of gold. That also is considered to be very great. If somebody gives cows, these are written in those days. Brahmins were given either land or gold and diamonds when the kings will be pleased. And also go, that is the cows and cattle. So, suppose cattle are given, that also is considered to be a very great dana. And over everything, if you give food to somebody who is hungry, it is called the greatest of dana. You may give many things, but suppose somebody is hungry, is needing food for the body, and you give, that is considered to be great. But Mahapradanam, what is the greatest of the great dana? Mahapradanam. Sarveshu daneshu abhayapradanam. If you can give abhaya to somebody, then that is the greatest of the danas or gifts. Mahapradanam. And that fearlessness, only a Sadguru, only a Mahatma can give by constantly telling that don't be afraid. Ma bhaishta, ma bhaishta. Constantly dwell on the truth, the real truth, the supreme truth that you are the self. There is no change in you. There is no disturbance in you. There is no affectation in you. Remain seated in that knowledge and do everything. Remain seated in that knowledge and do everything. This is what he goes on saying. Relentlessly, he will be saying, So he is the one who gives us abhaya. Otherwise, abhaya, fearlessness, we cannot get anywhere. We may be having lot of bank balance. So many things, so many jewels one may have. So many qualifications one may have. One may be having a very high post. What of that? Fearlessness you will not be able to get. You cannot write a check and get it from the bank. You cannot take a lot of money and get it from a shop. It is only in the mind and only by the knowledge of the self. And who gives the knowledge of the self? The Guru gives. And who is the Guru? Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine. He is the God in the human form. God is invisible. Even if we worship God in some idols on pictures, God cannot talk to us, cannot tell us the ways by which we can get fearlessness or anxiety, but the Guru can. He is the God in human form. And who is the Guru and God? The one's own Atma. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine. They are in different forms, but they are the same. Next we come to next one, Abhayam Sattva Samshuddhihi. Just understand the meaning. What was the meaning of this Sattva Samshuddhi? Wholesome purity. Wholesome purity. Now, wholesome purity we must have. And that is a culture, a development. I think I've been talking about this developing of qualities, I don't know for how many months. Maybe whatever I am taking, ultimately I come into developing of qualities. And that is what is necessary. We may have knowledge. Suppose one is seeking the truth. One might have taken Diksha from a Guru, might be listening to many lectures, might be reflecting, introspecting, meditating, and what not, leading a very sattvic life also. Unless by the development of the qualities the Sattva Guna becomes Vishuddha Sattva, unless the mind becomes pure, devoid of possessiveness, devoid of desires, devoid of the ego, the mind will not become placid and fear will always remain. Affectation will always remain. So, what can we do? We have to work for it. We have to go towards it. That is why I said I sometimes feel that when we say all this, are you afraid? Do you feel, oh, we have to do so much of work, cultivate? But why not? Swamiji was telling one day, somebody has 25 kilos of gold. If I tell him, I will give you a full universe of gold, I find that people leave that full universe of gold and is happy with that 25 kilograms. Maybe a seeker, a spiritual seeker, likes spirituality, is interested in spirituality, and likes to spend a spiritual life. Is not, many of the worldly attractions, allurements have fallen off. But still, they are happy with that 25 kilos. Feel that, we have to now cultivate. But there is so much of joy in cultivating. Suppose one quality, what? Possessiveness, lack of possessiveness, or santushti, contentment, or say this one, abhayam. Whenever I am fearful, I remember that I am the self. There is no fear in me. Why I am fearing? What for is the fear coming? That is how this whole spirituality is not to just chant. Even the mantras we chant mechanically. Even if we meditate, say for 1 hour, we are just chanting the Guru mantra mechanically. But what about the other times when we should introspect? When we are in the waking state and say we are fearful, we are anxious of something. It may be our health, it may be a promotion, it may be how I will face a situation. Anything can be there. It can be very subtle fears, it can be very big fear, but fear is there. So how do you tackle it? You know what we should do? You can chant the mantra, but introspection should be guiding us. Try to find out why are we getting afraid. Always the fear is because of losing something. Fear comes when we feel I'm going to lose something. It may be money, it may be health, it may be a near and dear one, it may be a position, it may be a feeling that I'll not be honored, that it's losing. Fear comes and anxiety comes because of that. So, by introspection, you should find out what is it that my fear is caused by. What loss? Okay, suppose I lose it. Then what? Then what? Whatever will be the situation, I'll accept it and go forward in my life. This acceptance and reliance, unless that becomes strong, one cannot grow in spirituality. So, we should, by hearing all this, why we repeat, and you will find all the texts constantly repeat the same thing, and we are also repeatedly saying the same thing, explaining it in different manner. If you go through Yoga Vasishta, such a big book, so many repetitions of shlokas, because Sage Vasishta is hammering the same concept again and again in various chapters so that it goes into the mind and remains there. So here it is, now we go to Sattva Samshuddhi. And we have understood that our main enemy is desire, possessiveness, ego, etc., and our tendencies which are evil. Intolerance, irritation, anger, those things. Hatefulness, criticism, fault finding. Some will be, if somebody is praising somebody, the mind will be looking for some fault which you can speak about that person. Mind is not agreeing to accept praise of others. So fault finding, blamefulness, grumbling, all these are evil. Hatefulness, harmfulness to others. So these things we should leave. Ego and not having samatva, that is not having the acceptance, quality of acceptance, forbearance. If these are not there, those are all evil qualities. We should remove them. All undesirable qualities should be removed. How will it be removed? Unless we look into ourselves. That is why meditation one has to sit and look into oneself. When we sit for meditation, for a long time there will be a lot of thoughts. Then you come to know what kind of thought is coming to you. You will find there will be fearful thoughts, anxietyful thoughts, there may be some hateful thoughts, there may be a feeling of, oh, that person talked to me like this, I can tell something by which he will be hurt. So many kinds of thoughts may be there, or I may lose something. It may be happy thoughts also. So, in meditation actually we are able to see ourselves just like we see our face in a mirror. All the tendencies come in front of us as if reflected by a mirror. So, in Sattva Samshuddhi, purity of the whole being. When the mind becomes desireless and has only the aim of self-realization, one becomes pure within. That is the pinnacle, when you are desireless. So what we should do? We should constantly try to see what are the desires. Are they really necessary? Some desires are necessary, as I said, for our living alone. You have to desire to go to the market, desire first to earn some money, and with that money you have to go to the market to get some things, items which we can cook and take food for your health. Health should be all right. You have to show a doctor if it's necessary, a shelter to live. But even though everything is okay, mostly we keep on wanting something other, something new. So, desires have to be seen properly by introspection. And when that pinnacle comes, that one becomes desireless, and the aim always has to be kept that let me be desireless. That is called vairagya actually. Vairagya, whatever. The mind should be like this, that okay, my mind is going behind something. Even though by introspection I feel that even if I don't have it, it is okay. I am quite comfortable. The mind, when it starts having a feeling, a strong feeling, that it doesn't matter if I get it or I don't get it. It is okay for me whether I get it or not. Then the vairagya has come. It doesn't matter. So like this, when we introspect and go forward in our desirelessness, one is able to reach that ultimate state of desirelessness. So one has no desire for worldly objects, but has love for God. So how will this love for self-realization or the self or God increase? When the worldly things which attract us, our mind will start understanding the futility of those things. That unnecessarily mind goes for many things, to have many things. Even if we have one, we want to have a few more. Futility has to be understood. The transitoriness of the worldly items have to be understood. Then only the desires will drop off and the love for this path, whether you want to realize your own real identity or you feel the presence of God, with whatever makes you inspired, you do that. One's own thoughts, attitudes, aims, etc., all should be directed towards the attainment of the self. I was talking about that once we know the knowledge that I am the self, which I know that as a knowledge all of you, most of you know, and you have been hearing it again and again. You all want to hear. After hearing, what is to be done? Abide by the knowledge and act accordingly. So, abidance with the knowledge is meaning what? Thoughts should be pure, thoughts should be conducive to this path, attitudes. So your thoughts, attitudes, aim, everything, your vichara, rumination, reflection should be pure, conducive towards Sattva Guna. And how will you understand that you are, whether you are progressing in that or not? We will understand if we assess of oneself, every day's work, every day's thoughts, every day's behavior. See where we have become possessive. We become possessive with our own ideas. I have given an idea, it should be taken by everybody. Or some attitudes I have, I just cannot drop those attitudes and accept others' attitudes and views. So this is how one can practically cultivate these qualities. My dear children, for this, what we have to do? You have to think about this. How can I? When we are sitting quietly, when we have time, instead of trying to have phone calls and talk to others unnecessary things about family matters, think, where all do I become possessive? Where all my unnecessary desires take grip of me? Am I working on them? I say that I am a spiritual person, I like spirituality. And many say that these days we do not like to talk about family and other things. Many friends, we don't like to talk anymore because the talk with them is only about the worldly things. We would like to hear spiritual things. It's very good. The disciplines that one has in life, spiritual disciplines, devotional disciplines, the time you spend in listening to lectures, rumination, all is okay. But in action, are you abiding with the knowledge or not? You have to assess, has my desires become less? Has my love for this path has become more? Am I egoistic? Am I possessive? And if you cannot oneself understand it, ask the people around you. Ask the people around you, what are your assessments about me? And they will give you very good assessment. You should tell them, please give assessment about what you feel about me. In what aspects I have to improve. This is how the qualities should be developed. So qualities, we are saying, all the scriptures are saying qualities should be developed. And if one is really aspiring, really sincere, really serious about it, one should be able to ask others, please tell me what all things you find positive in me and what all things negative in me, so that I can work on the negative things and strengthen the positive ones. I think it's a great adventure. It should give a lot of joy. Lot of joy. Especially, those who are young, those who are very busy in their lives. They may have a little less time to think about these things. But what about the others who do not have familial responsibilities now? Think like this. When it is not directed towards the self and one is identified wrongly with the body, then one has a differential attitude, differential vision of the objects of the world. This we have been telling many times. We mistakenly identify with the changeful body-mind intelligence, and there is a differentiation. We do not understand what is the self, and we become more attracted towards the world. Impurity arises because of the desire to acquire and possess objects of the world. With purity, the mind becomes lighter and transparent. Ego drops. Feeling of I-ness goes away. So the mind is not agitated anymore. Mind is not disturbed anymore. Purity means the mind should be desireless, expectationless, egoless, possessiveness-less. And all the disciplines and exercises that we do, it is for the mind to be free of desire, ego, and dislikes. So, how do we progress towards this purity? I am repeating again. Dwell in the thought of the self and constantly remove this differential vision, that I-ness and mine-ness, the differentiation. Always dwell on the knowledge that everything is the same self. Also, develop and cultivate more and more love for God and self through worship, meditation, studying of the scriptures and all that. Also, when we are doing activities, we should be doing the activities without any clinging or possessiveness. Now, this Sattva Samshuddhi, whatever I have told, we can go a little deeper into it. This quality constitutes the core of spiritual seeking as well as the seeker. So we have been discussing that possessiveness, desire, ego, all these things have to be sublimated, purified, removed. How will one feel like doing this? How will one aspire? How will the inspiration come? For any spiritual seeker, this quality of Sattva Samshuddhi, who is telling whom about Sattva Samshuddhi? Krishna is telling Arjuna. Krishna is telling Arjuna that one must purify the whole being. One is the outside Shuddhi and another is internal Shuddhi. Now, this outside Shuddhi will not bring about actual purity. Only the body will become pure. That is, if you take bath and all that, the body may become pure. How about purifying the internal being? For that, what is necessary? What all we said? You have to dwell on the self, dwell on God, do more and more of introspection. See that your thought, speech, action, etc. are in abidance with the self, self-knowledge. All those things have to be done. And now, one has to remember that this quality, Sattva Samshuddhi, constitutes the core of spiritual seeking. Unless we become pure, fully. And when we become pure, what happens? Sattva Guna increases, Chitta Prasadah increases, and we are able to understand and be fused with the self, what we are. So that is why it is called the core of the spiritual seeking. Sattva means the being, and Samshuddhi means abundant purity. Okay? I don't know whether you are finding any interest. When I go through qualities, I think I have told you many times. Anytime, any quality that I find, I feel I must have it. Initially, I did not understand. It was just an aspiration. Oh, such beautiful qualities. I also must have it. Later on, when I was a seeker and much later in my seekerhood, came across this phrase, Yani eva sthita pratyasya lakshanani, tani eva sadhanani. That is, whatever is the lakshanas and characteristics of a sthita prajna or a jnani or a self-realized person, those are the sadhana for the seekers. Then I understood that as a seeker, very naturally and spontaneously I was feeling that I must have these qualities. My dear children, are you feeling like this? Do you feel like this? Or it is just a hearing? You hear or you read and you close the book and you leave the session and you forget. No. Once you learn about the qualities, you should aspire to get them. And then you will find, I am saying that this is an adventure. So many things, people go for sightseeing to very difficult places also. They go to new temples. So many temples they will go. They will not mind having austerities, going to various places which are quite difficult to reach also, such places. They may not get any comfort, luxury of their usual life when they have gone to the temple. If they have to spend the night there, they will take to it. This is a pilgrimage inside us, and those are pilgrimage outside. Why this pilgrimage is necessary? Because once, at least some time, for some time we'll be able to go around. But a day will come when we'll not be able to walk. We'll be in the house itself. Unless you know how to go and make an inward pilgrimage, you will feel, I am not able to go anywhere. Now I don't able to see anybody. Nobody comes to see me. Nobody inquires about me. So many old people we have seen, they are lamenting like this. Why? Because they have not learned. They have not practiced the inward journey, the inward pilgrimage that we can do. And there it is always a fountain of light, fountain of joy, fountain of consciousness. So, this samshuddhi is abundant purity. It is not purifying the body by bath. The seeker's aim should be to purify his inner personality, consisting of the mind, intelligence, and ego. Do you understand? It is not by bath, but not taking a dip in a holy river, going to various temples and giving puja. The purity is not coming by that. Purity is within, and that in that purity, the mind, intelligence, ego are involved. So the thought pattern must become pure. Intelligence should be equally pure and subtle. Ego must be effaced. Do you get it? So our introspection should be constantly watching over our mind, our intelligence, our ego. That is, what are the thought processes in the mind? What is the intelligence doing? Is it guiding the mind in the proper direction? When something comes up in the mind, say a desire comes up, it is the intelligence which says that it's not necessary or necessary. So the intelligence should become sattvic, the mind should become sattvic, the ego also should become sattvic. How do you get, what are exactly meant by sattvic mind, sattvic intelligence or sattvic ego? What does Bhagavad Gita say? Everything is there in this Bhagavad Gita. You should become, this book should become your friend, everyday friend. Just read this, and how you should read it. You should read it thinking that you are sitting by side of Arjuna and listening to Krishna. Imagine that scene where Arjuna had no self-confidence. He was fearful. He did not know what to do. His intelligence was dull. Whereas he had come with a decision, a very strong, considered resolve and decision to fight. Suddenly his intelligence failed. Mind became turbulent. Body became absolutely cold. He fell down. Think that how Krishna has made him become confident again, strong again. So when you read, imagine, it should not be just it should not be just a routine of reading this book or anything else. It should not become a routine. It should mold us. It should purify us. It should transform our every cell so that every cell becomes illuminated. What does Krishna say about the thought pattern must become pure? So it is in the 17th chapter, 16th shloka. He says that the thought processes should be like this. In this 17th chapter, he is talking about tapas, the austerities by which one attains sattvic qualities. So he has talked about many things, and he is talking about Shariram tapa, bodily austerity, Vangmayam tapa, the austerity of speech, and tapaha manasam, that is the austerity of the mind. And he says, Shraddhaya paraya taptam tapastat trividham naraihi aphala kankshibhiryuktaihi satvikam parichakshate. This is 17th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 17th shloka. Shraddhaya paraya taptam tapastat trividham naraihi aphala kankshibhiryuktaihi satvikam parichakshate. He says that these threefold austerities, what? One is bodily austerity, one is speech austerity, and one is mental austerity. Pursued with supreme attention, with no desire for any external reward therefrom. That is, you take to the austerity, not feeling that if I do this, I will get this. Most of the austerities that people do are like this. Oh, I will keep fast during Navaratri and my whole family will have punya. They will be protected by God. I'll go to that particular temple and give puja. Then everything will be all right. This is how we do that austerities. Austerities also when we do without expectation, without desire. Just do it to purify yourself. Purifying what? Desire itself goes away. Now we are full with desire. something, 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 something. As I say, the very subtle desire is everybody should behave nicely with me. Everybody should talk lovingly with me. I should be liked by everybody. Will that ever happen? These desires. So if somebody talks a little rudely or maybe a little harshly, has not acknowledged your presence, you are upset. These are the subtle ones. There may be big ones also. So this tapas, the austerity also should be without any expectation, and says that for any, with no desire for any external reward therefrom, is held to be sattvika. So the sattvika austerities are when you do it with enough attention and with no expectation what you will get, but actually the reward will be there. You will become sattvika. So for the mind, he says, manaprasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityetat tapo manasa muchyate. Manaprasada saumyatvam maunam atma vinigraha bhava samshuddhirityetat tapo manasa muchyate. He says that cheerful calmness of the mind, mana prasadaha, the same, Chitta Prasadah or Mana Prasadaha. So cheerful calmness. The calmness cannot be, sometimes people are calm, they look very calm, but internally the mind is very, very turbulent. It is not like that. It is cheerful calmness of the mind. Then saumyatvam, gentleness, maunam, silence, atma vinigraha. This gentleness is very, very, very necessary. Then silence. How much we talk to others, we can reduce this talking. That is, just before that, Vangmaya tapauchyate also has been said. That is, what is this austerity pertaining to speech? That says, using words that are non-irritating, truthful, endearing and beneficial, and studying scriptures regularly are said to be constituting austerity pertaining to speech. And here in this mental austerity, maunam is also added. That is, you may be not talking, but the mind is going on with thought. That actual maunam is when you are not thinking about anything particular. The mind is calm. So maunam atma vinigraha. Atma vinigraha, that is self-control. Bhava samshuddhihi, that attitudinal and emotional purity also should be there. So, say to see the thought pattern of the mind, whether it is becoming sattvic or not. What we should see? Again, we should see whether the mind is remaining cheerful. If it is not remaining cheerful, introspect and find out what is the cause, remove the cause. Saumyatvam, gentleness. Maybe at the end of the day we should have an assessment of ourselves, analyze ourselves. Was I gentle with everybody? Not only in behavior, my thoughts also were they gentle. And maunam, did I talk unnecessarily? Or did I remain quiet and indrawn into myself? Atma vinigraha, did I have self-control over me? That whatever is not conducive for my spiritual journey, have I been able to restrict and restrain? And bhava samshuddhihi, attitudinal and emotional purity did I have? were my attitudes at every place? Very loving, accommodating others' attitudes, loving others even if they did not have the same opinion with you. Whatever your opinion is, others did not have opinion, but still you were quite loving, quite accommodating. Was it like this, or you felt irritated about the whole thing? And emotional. Sometimes when we are not able to let go of our opinions and views and attitudes, that is, people are not either appreciating or in a group not acknowledging these attitudes or opinions and views of one person. Sometimes there is a lot of emotional turmoil, and mind will imagine many things. I am always looked down upon. The mind will think, I am always looked down upon. Nobody understands that how much efficient I am. Always the other people, they want to prove that I am nobody. These are the emotional impurities which come into the mind. I am saying only this. What I am saying, on the basis of that, start looking into your mind, my dear children. Only because of these impurities of the mind, we are not able to be contented. We need to be contented. We want nothing. I have nothing, I want nothing, I am contented. My mind is calm. I have nothing against anybody. Okay, today we stop here. Sampurnam Jagadev Nandanavanam Sarvepi Kalpadrumaha Gangam Vari Samastavari Nivaha Punyas Samasta Kriyaha Vacha Prakrita Samskrita Shrutishiro Varanasi Medini Sarvavasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishte Parabrahmani Sarvavasthitirasya Vastu Vishaya Drishte Parabrahmani. Jai Guru, Jai Guru.